Hi everyone, today we will be learning about the second part, which is flowcharts. We have already studied algorithms in the previous class, as you remember from here, and we will now be studying flowcharts. Let's try to think intuitively what the concept of flowcharts can actually be. Okay, so to put it simply, flowchart is nothing but the flow of the way we do things, right? So just think of it as a flow of steps. I think that's easier to think about. Now we'll try to do something that's a little bit of an informal flowchart, okay? Let's say, for example, you have a favorite coffee shop and you want to go from your home to your coffee shop. Maybe a simple flowchart could be step one, you are trying to go out of your home, okay? And we are randomly drawing a circle here, and maybe you turn left on the road. Then maybe you have to turn right. And then maybe you have already reached your destination. Okay, now this is a very informal way that we have drawn, but let's try to see what a formal chart could look like actually. Let's say, for example, we want to take two inputs, okay, two inputs, and we want to calculate the total. So calculate total, let's say. How do we do that? Okay, let's start from the beginning. The very first symbol in a formal flowchart is start, okay? And we do it using a round, circle, or oval. Then we have to prompt the user to give us the input. For input and output, we draw this parallelogram, okay? So we write display, which means we ask the user on the output screen, enter number, okay? Now, if I draw an output screen here, the user can see enter number is written here, okay? Enter number, okay. So now the user will enter the number. Do you remember we said that we draw a parallelogram whenever we want to do any input-output operation? Now we will write input or enter, whatever you may prefer, num1. Num1 is basically our variable name, okay? Now we ask the user to enter the second number. So display, again we write the same thing, enter number. And the user is again prompted. Maybe the user entered 5, okay, and the user is again prompted to see on the display screen enter number. So the user enters number again. So you can write either input or you can say enter. Either way it's fine. Num2. Num2 is the other variable. Then we calculate the summation, right? So when we do any process inside the computer and it's not an input nor an output, we use a rectangle, okay? So we say, let's say sum equals to num1 plus num2, okay? Then we display to the user display, we write the variable name sum. Okay, and the program needs an indication to stop. So we use the stop here and we use the circle here. Okay, now let's try to understand it conceptually from the last class. In the last class, we used an analogy of y equals to f of x. In this analogy, you can kind of think that our x1 is basically num1 and our x2 was basically num2. The process is sum, which is also process slash process, okay? And the output is basically the displays information. Okay. Do you remember this analogy that we used? So now let's try to think in terms of the analogy of the last class. So in input and output, we use parallelograms like this. And in processes, we use a rectangle. When we want to start our flowchart, we use a circle. And when we want to end it, we use a circle. There is another symbol that is missing in our discussion at the moment, which is the rhombus symbol. Okay? This symbol is known as decision. Now don't get scared by it. Decision is simply deciding. Okay? Now let's try to do a simple decision. Let's say, for example, we will only print summation if it's greater than 0. Okay, let's see how we can decide this thing. Okay, let's start again with the start symbol. Start. Okay, then we take an input of 2 numbers. We calculate the sum. And then we use the decision. Let's see how we carry out our decision in the diamond thing or whatever you may call it. So we are asking a question. Is the sum greater than 0? Okay. If the sum is indeed greater than 0, which we say yes, it's greater than 0, we display the summation like this. Display sum, and if it's not greater than 0, simply stop our program. Try to see the flow of the information. We wanted to decide something, right? Do you remember we wanted to decide something? Let's see. We start, we take 2 inputs from the user, we calculate the summation, and then we simply decide either a yes or a no. If we do yes, we proceed with something that we would want to do. And if we don't want to do something, simply stop it. After deciding and taking whatever decision we wanted to take, we simply stop the program. Now you might ask one thing. Why use a flowchart, right? We could have just done like the previous class. So in our previous class, we used written descriptions. Now what advantage does a flowchart give you? The advantage is clear visualization, right? So there is a clear visualization, and we are wanting to visualize our algorithm clearly. Written descriptions have their own beauty as well, but then we want to say what we want to do in a clear way, right? That's why we have flowcharts. Okay, now that we have studied what a flowchart is, let's try to jot down the formal definition in our classwork. Okay, so our classwork is, what is a flowchart? A flowchart is a diagram that shows an algorithm each step in an algorithm is represented via a symbol. Symbols are linked together with arrows showing the order in which steps are completed. Okay, now this formal definition you can actually find on page 6 of your Edexcel textbook. Now I want you to take your homework now. Okay, and your homework is calculate the product of 2 and 3 using flowchart. That's your first part of the homework. And the second part is write a written description. Okay? Now, we will be studying our pseudocodes. Pseudocode is nothing but something that describes what will be later written in high-level programming language. So maybe that can be Java, Python, or whatever else is there, okay? Now, your book does talk about the formal definition of pseudocode. So let's try to jot it down in our classwork. What is a pseudocode? A pseudocode is a structured code-like language that can be used to describe an algorithm. So you can actually find this question in page 7, or more like the definition in page 7. Okay. Now we will look at something called the Edexcel glossary, okay? For pseudocode. You will find that on page 294. Okay? Now, here's the thing. I want you to take this homework as well. Just curiously browse through these pages. And then you try to think what pseudocode is, and we will inshallah discuss further in the next class. That's it for today, class. Bye bye.